Welcome to Dreams for Society. I am Lisa Hayes, host of the show Dreams for Society, where we imagine, visualize, and create dreams for society. Today is Wednesday, October 28th, 2020. I'm so excited to introduce our guest today. She's such a special lady who also happens to be my niece. More on that later, I'm sure. Kristen Becher, or like I like to call her, Krystal, Kristen with a K, Krystal, because she reminds me of crystal light, as you will see for yourself during this interview. In fact, in 2002, almost 20 years ago, a seer in a crystal store in the mountains of Colorado told her that she was a light grid worker, which at the time she really wasn't sure what that meant. However, now we know that her crystal light is important to raise the vibration of the Earth's grids. And Kristen does this significant service for humanity quietly and away from the public eye. And as she has been living on Maui for most of 2020, she's able to utilize the Lemurian energy, the crystal Lemurian energy, to amplify her service. Yay! What better time and place for Kristen to reside during this powerful 2020 vision year of revelations? I'm sure we'll talk more on that as well. For a good deal of Kristen's adult life, she's traveled the world to sacred sites, has been under the tutelage of advanced teachers, and in the presence of diverse cultures. Her many experiences and exposure to knowledge and wisdom have shown her that it is possible for the people of the world to coexist in an inner state of cosmic harmony. And those are her words, to coexist in an inner state of cosmic harmony. I mean, that just gives me the Kundalini rising right there. Kristen is a master yoga teacher, massage therapist, and educator of sacred knowledge and wisdom, and I would call her an advanced teacher as well. One of her courses, of which I have taken several times and I highly, highly recommend, is her Temple of Light and Chakra course. And you are just in time to sign up for her special 21-day accelerator course that commences in 2 days, October 30th, 2020. This course is so timely designed to give us a boost and help us fly through the rest of 2020 gracefully and peacefully. Well, we'll talk more about Kristen's offerings at the end of the show, along with her contact information. All of that will be listed below this video, or is listed below this video as you're watching it now for your easy reference. So with all of that, I wanted to be sure to get a lot of that good stuff in, Kristen, as we discuss so many neat things going forward in this interview. I wanted people to understand who you were, since I haven't interviewed you before. And I'm so glad we're having a chance to chat today. I usually ask this question to my interviewees, and I'm going to ask you as well. The first question of the day, your life path so far. What transpired during your life path to get you to this point of your journey today?
Wow. It's been a 38-year journey. I just turned 38. And I was blessed and chose well my mother and father. And I feel well equipped with a wonderful value system and strong ethics to carry me through these many changes of my spiritual journey, because for sure it's been the road less traveled. And I was a gymnast as a child, and I think that I feel in my body that was a very powerful brain wiring, gave me a real kind of innate intelligence on the mechanism, the mechanics of the body, and balance and opening and anti-gravity. A lot of different sensations happen at a very young age. So I think for my brain to develop in that way was a very interesting experience. Please, yeah, do you
Well,
have
I was
a...
just going to say to the viewers, you weren't just a gymnast. You were a champion. The girl was flying all over the place, and you went to the state championships.
I
So
was, yeah, I
you
won
were
state
amazing.
ball for a couple of years. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I forget about it, until it's, I recently went to the gym that I, trained in for many years. And I was like, oh yeah, I won state vault. I forgot about that completely. So, it's funny. It's a funny thing. But the most important part for me was the brain mapping. I really connected with my hand. I was on my hand sometimes more than my feet, in the air sometimes more than on the ground. When I was performing. So very interesting. And so that's the lightful. Then there's a little bit of like a shadow story there too, where I had, developed, fear and started to hit some limitations. So, I've had to go back and really rework and reprogram some of that early childhood experience in that container. So, it's the journey through polarity. We can talk about the good, and then there's like the shadow work too. So, it's a whole package thing that it's a part of the journey. So then when I was, well, there's so many things, but when I was about 17, 18, I went to my first yoga class in my hometown, and it was a Kundalini yoga class. And this woman had us in a forward fold for 5 minutes. And my body started to like just release this energy, and it was like sonic waves. I felt like something huge was transforming in my legs, where I have kind of circulation issues anyway, maybe from being a gymnast, but it could be genetic too. But there was this like healing happening in my body from a forward fold. It was like, whoa. And then we went into Shavasana, the relaxation pose, where all the medicine of that release from my joints and from my spine and low back just started to swirl and spiral. And I felt like I was like elevating, levitating. So it's like, wow, the healing capacity of our body is so innate and so profound in the most simple of things that we can do. So then I went to college, and I feel that the first time that my soul truly incarnated or felt at ease and at home in my body was on my 22nd birthday. I was in India for about 5 months for a course. It was a final project for my undergraduate degree at Indiana University. And in that massage, it was like the whole life, my whole being came together in that moment. And I just kind of felt this like clunk or like a thud, like I dropped in, like I'm safe here. This body is home, and it's okay to be here. This earth is, it's time. You're here in the perfect time. Because for so long I was like, oh, I was born into the wrong time. What am I doing here? I don't relate to this culture. I don't relate to this religion. I don't relate to this education. I could not relate to my reality very well at all until I went to India. And it was just like such a, counter culture to everything that I had experienced before. I didn't even go by my born name. I was given a different name there. So the identity really became more boundless. And as noisy as India is, it's where I found this inner peace and quiet. India is so full of paradoxes. Yet I felt at peace. I felt at home within myself. And I knew that my journey was different and was a spiritual one, and was not defined by anything I saw in my environment, but was going to be very self-defined, self-navigated journey. And I became okay with that. Another acceleration, just so many, Egypt was a huge activator. And that was in 2012. in October of 2012 for my 30th birthday. My birthdays, yeah, somehow like these kind of points of like activations, and they are, our birthdays really are. It's when the veil really thins and opens up, where we're more in unity with our soul and spirit integration. So in Egypt, that's when the earth grid activated me. And I received the download, the energetics to teach the chakra course, which began in January of 2013. So all the information actually came from the ley lines. A tree took me into the nervous system of the planet, and I was able to see and travel through the grid. It's like, oh, okay. It was kind of one of those moments, you know, it was just zoom, information, light codes exchanged, and I got uploaded or downloaded with info. Yes, and it just has gone on and on, you know, the journey. Most recently in Israel, Jordan and Israel, that was a huge pivotal moment in about this time, 2018, that late October, early November window through the 11/11/2018 portal. In particular, 11/12/2018 was definitely my rebirth into a whole new octave of existence. So I've been given information as I've been ready through these different stages. So more information comes as I'm ready. And this is how it works for all of us. Yes. So, and now I'm here in Maui, and it feels like I'm kind of been on this sabbatical and really healing my adrenals to prepare them for sharing and to activate as a channel to serve the upliftment of humanity. Yes, so that's the present moment. That's a quick zip.
I can tell everyone that as her aunt, I know there is a lot more that we could go on for hours about your journey. I'm glad you did highlight some of those downloads in India, Egypt, and Israel. You were in a cave for 3 days in India, and you were in college, right?
Yes, it was the culmination project for my major, and we were offered the opportunity to, it was optional, to go into a cave solo for 3 days and 3 nights. And it was a water fast. So they delivered water to the outside of each of our caves, those of us who chose to go through this process. And yeah, it was in isolation. We just had a sleeping pad, a mosquito net, and 3 sticks of incense. We couldn't take a journal, we couldn't take a pen. It was just us and our thoughts, the space, and the ground. You know?
Oh my goodness. I mean, that's isolation, and oh my God, I don't know how many people could do that.
It was confronting. It was confronting of just the monkey mind. And I realized the other day that monk is a part of, the word monk is a part of monkey. And it's almost like we you know, these teachings, these spiritual teachings, these journeys, these things that we say yes to, release us from the monkey mind. But we have to confront that onslaught, that bombardment. This is like the ongoing, almost subconscious wheel that perpetuates. And to bring consciousness, bring awareness, and pull the monk, ascend the monk, you know, through. I don't know, I just saw that. I was playing Scrabble the other day, and that's when that came through, that the signs are everywhere.
I just never put 2 and 2 together like that. It makes sense. So monkey mind, for the viewers, this is important, especially since so many things are being revealed to us in 2020. And I always say, if we can see it, we're ready to love it. However, a lot of people don't want to love it. They see something new that they hate, and they want to hate it. So Eckhart Tolle, I love what he says. He says that our thoughts can be viewed as separate entities. Maybe there's something in the field programs that kind of float out there like lots of clouds. So can you
Yes.
go a little deeper into maybe your experience in the cave and since then about how you view your thoughts and how you handle what you don't want in your mind and what you do want?
Well, it's really resourcing that inner monk,
Okay.
and we can call that the soul.
Mm.
But it's soul coaching. It's soul coaching your ego.
Oh.
And it's like you've got to talk to those thoughts in a way where that soul has more power than them. It's like, I see you. I see this thought that's come in, because sometimes they're so off and they can be so dark. And it's like, that's not who I am. And so I'm going to go to battle with that thought right now, because that's not me. And you don't have a house here. You don't exist here. You are not, this is not your home, you know? And I've been doing this for many years. I'll be driving in the car. I'll see a person and I will judge. I, the lower I, the ego, the monkey, no. And like, that is not me. No. You know, and I will sit at that stop sign until I am clear. You know, I'm not moving forward until I clean that bit by bit, particle by particle, because I know the true me is divine. I know the true me is pure perfection and innocent and whole and beautiful. And that is what I want to grow and glow as, you know, that is the natural life thriving way of the divine human. And this monkey human, I mean, I'm just going to go with the monkey metaphor because it was in Scrabble the other day. It's relevant all of a sudden. That is not, it's just the lower form. And that is not what has the reins of this life. The soul has the reins of this life. And I continue to give that more grace, more power through grace to hold space and to command my conversations and moments and visions forward. So it's been a journey, it's been a process, because yes, these things are swirling in the collective. And it's just like, it's almost like a simulation game on that third dimensional ego level. People are like, oh, are we in a simulation game? In a sense, on that 3D level, yes. And so it's kind of like building that coherent field with right thinking, you know, right breathing. And a lot of it is with accessing the breath, accessing the inhale. That is the life force energy. And as that expands, that inner body bright glows and emanates, and the field almost repels those energies, like a, you know, like a magnet, you know, those things. But, you know, sometimes as the light grows, more is attracted to that light, because those entities need a host, because they don't survive on themselves, right? But when you really affirm that this is not a hosting site for that energy, you have to really talk to it no, that's an old kind of patriarchal way to say it, but like disciplining somebody, you know, kind of like setting an out of control dog like in its place, like, hey, no, I'm in charge here. The I am that is of the higher mind, higher self, soul self emanation, and this is not your home, you know. And then you can take it further and actually, you know, send those entities on their return path home. You can actually do transmutation, clearing, releasing, to assist, you know, and that is part of the light work, you know, grid work that we do. You do, I do, we do it within our inner grids and the external grids, as it's one and the same.
Well, I want to go back to this cave thing.
No, please.
Because it's still pertinent as to what we're talking about. I imagine that if I were in there, I'd go crazy with all my monkey thoughts, and after a while, I'd just wait a minute, this is driving me crazy. So if I hadn't been instructed on how to do it beforehand, surely I would figure it out eventually that I can kick those thoughts out, send them home, as you said, because we're not distracted by anything in a cave with no notebook or music or anything, and no food, no activities other than just to lie on a cot. So all we have to entertain us are our monkey thoughts. So when did you get to the point where you were really determined then to, instead of revisiting every past memory with a negative charge, I'm assuming you were able to revisit past memories and transmute those and let those negative charges go and start to clean up your thoughts? I mean, otherwise, I think I'd go crazy in the cave if I couldn't do that.
Well, it almost happened right at the moment I was asked to leave the cave, which is a
Oh,
very difficult point. Yeah,
okay.
it was a very poignant moment. But I'll share a little bit about a moment I had in the cave before then, because there was confrontation with fears. I mean, there were hundreds of bats in my cave. I mean,
Real bad.
yeah,
Oh,
like real bats. Yeah. And, in the day, the monkeys came and they were not happy I was on their
the real monkey.
rock.
The real
The
monkey.
real monkeys. A little gang of monkeys. A gang of monkeys barking at me. So there was like actual like confrontation with nature a bit,
Mm.
which was interesting. But, I just kind of expanded. I kind of learned to like expand my field, because the only other option would be to just like exit the cave. And that didn't feel like an option. There was something inside of me that was like, the only option is to overcome your fears.
Mm.
You can't just shrink and shrivel in this moment, because, the gang of monkeys might, take advantage of that. Or, I always had a way out. I wasn't like unsafe, but I was challenged for sure. One
Mm.
of the bats flew on my chest, like
Oh.
right there, it's like, ooh, there were moments of really confronting fear. But there was the second evening, I was given the Sunset Cave was the name of my cave. And the Sunset Cave had a ledge that overlooked this huge horizon. And this is the place where Rudyard Kipling wrote the Jungle Book. So the landscape was just huge boulder rocks and rice fields and expanse. And we were in a particular sanctuary zone that a group of Germans actually purchased and were rehabilitating the ecosystem. So I had this ledge that overlooked this vast landscape. And in this moment, I can't remember if I had a lot of thoughts, what the monkey mind thing was doing, but something inside was like, go watch the sunset, even though the bats were, because that's their feeding time, right? When all the insects are out. I was like, just go, just sit out there, It's like a bigger, like overcome the fear of being in that passageway with the bats. So I sat there and I watched the sunset, and it was like, I felt like I was on the edge of the world. I was like, that sun is not setting. I am on this planet spinning. And we're spinning. We're not sunning. So it's like all of a sudden the illusions of perception started to unravel in my brain. It's like nothing is as it seems, like put yourself in the center space of this kind of quietude and observe, because this is a miracle. This is a magnificent, you might just be a speck of dust in a speck of time, because I felt very small, but simultaneously huge, like I was a part of it all, like it was all me. And this sense of boundless identity started to really permeate, like my breath was in unison with creation. And that feeling, that experience always comes in nature. So to calm the monkey mind, it's like attune to nature, because that will put us in the natural, harmonious rhythm with the symphony of life. We are that. That is us, you know.
So beautiful. And what you've been saying probably is kind of segues into the next question I had for you as to what you like to have as your central message or takeaway for your clients, that they can take home and really integrate and assimilate into their being. So expand on that. What would be kind of your central message in your teachings?
Yeah, that your human body is the most advanced technology in existence, maybe in the whole cosmos. And you're much bigger than what you realize. You're not as fragile as you think. And so that alone, your connection to source, to free energy, is yours. It's your birthright. And so everything that I teach, everything that I do, every massage I've given or yoga class I've taught over the years has had that golden thread of awakening, of activating the technology of the human vehicle. And it goes much deeper than just the physicality. We have so many layers to our field, so many levels of intelligence that just protect us almost in this like beautiful egg around us, and we can access the different layers of this intelligence. And so I teach pathways to access the innate intelligence within the individual. There's something so universal about each of us, but the soul codes are so unique. And so I just help people like illuminate their inner pathways to discovering their divine destiny. Maybe it's inside of their own veins, you know. It's inside the heart that beats. Yeah.
Well, and I love the fact that not only are you able to reach us through your teachings, you also can help your clients through yoga and massage therapy. Can you kind of compare, tell us a little bit about the three modalities, yoga, massage, and then, just through coaching and educating, what the differences are, the similarities, and how it helps your clients?
Right. Yeah. I kind of feel like the massage is a bit in the once was at this point. It was a great way to anchor and create this tangibility. Now, with that foundation, I feel like I can translate what I did in the physical body and be a facilitator of like space for the client to be the self-healer rather than maybe like relying on me to like clean out, the tissue. It's like, okay, well, to put them into that empowerment state where they're doing the work through my guidance. And the similarities, well, yoga is so many things. I mean, yoga is a way of life. It's asana yoga that I was teaching for many years, like the physical postures, basically create these geometries for your body to like open the joints, to open the nadi system, the energy channels, the circulatory channels, to open the cerebral spinal fluid. It's just to get the circulation going. So it's really all about circulation in the yoga, in the massage, and in the earth body. It's like opening up the circuits for the energy to flow, for information to flow. It's like a feng shui kind of thing. You can do it in your home. You can apply, these principles to actually any venue. You can feng shui any venue. So in the yoga, I mean, I work with the body and the energy body. So, you know, that's my framework of language, but you can apply it to anything. So yeah, yoga, it's creating these geometries to basically, and in the massage, to create what Buckminster Fuller termed tensegrity. And it's kind of this like equal suspension framework where there isn't a foundation where anything's leaning heavily on any pillar. It's like there's this equal suspension of all parts, so that in this wholeness of the form, it's almost like a flotation device. It becomes like a float, a buoy, right? Where it's just flowing, it's buoyant. So there's really not necessarily the need for like the gravity. So, I mean, the gravity holds the field, right? You have to have gravity here in the form, I think. I mean, I don't know. But with that tensegrity, it's like this equal suspension. So gravity is not pulling the circulation down or pinching the spine or the hips or the knee or the ankle, you know, kind of just like works its way down and works its way up the way the tension lines. Equal suspension. So it's all kind of lifting itself up. It's a very anti-gravity kind of architecture. He designed the first geodesic dome, Buckminster Fuller. So there's like also a sound acoustic component to it, the way sound tones echo or reverberate, the vibrations of sound in those forms create more health, create more energy. And so also with the yoga, you know, we do mantra, we do toning, om, this kind of, you know, alignment, which is the cosmic vibration, the cosmic pulse of creation. So yeah, with the massage, it was a lot of just like opening the channels. It was a circulatory thing, releasing the inflammation, releasing the tension, and talking people through the process, you know. Often the points of pressure, the points of inflammation, the pain points in the body always point to something much deeper, emotional, mental, memory, an imprint, usually that happened very, very early in life. And so we go into those places and start to, you know, release the causal root of why that pattern concretized or, you know, became so physical. Yes.
So when you help people release some of the blockages and through yoga and massage and create alignment for energy to flow in their bodily systems, do you feel that that automatically also helps with Earth's body, Mother Gaia's body, the planetary?
Sometimes in some of the sessions, I really felt that some people were surrogating a kind of energy. And this happened usually whenever I was supercharged from a recent return from a big land activation visit, whether that was Egypt or Scotland or in any of the places that I've been. And then I would start working on people's bodies. Their bodies almost became a map of the planet or that part of the planet that I was just working on. And so they would just, you know, those sessions were huge for them, for sure. And because the level of energy I was tapping into was very much like still anchored with that land activation site. And yeah, it was some incredible sessions there. So did I answer your question, or were you asking more about the land work, like what I do with the land work?
Yeah, actually, I was going to, great segue. I was going to ask you, since you've been in Maui, this beautiful Lemurian energy since the beginning of February of this year, what kind of grid work are you able to do there? And I mean, do you do it through your own body? Do you kind of describe and help the viewers understand if they were to try to emulate what you're doing, what is it that they can do as well to help?
Well, what I'm doing here is the same I do anywhere. And it's first observing the land, observing the water, observing the sky, observing the sun, observing the lunar, what the stars are doing. It's very observant. It's a very attuning to the nature. And because it's not like I need to do anything to overlay anything, right? It's almost like an uncovering for the light essence to flow. And that's really all it is with everything. All the essence of God, of source of life is inside of everything. It's just veiled, right? And so it's just an unveiling. And so it's observation. How is the land moving? How is what are the weather patterns? How are things going here? And the way things like to be cleared and cleaned here moves in a very different pattern than the way it does in Indiana. So it took me a while to observe that in my mind's eye. How things move the spirals are huge here. It's just like, woo. And maybe that's the natural flow of all places. Yet in Indiana, we have oak trees and we have karst topography, the limestone and the underwater channels there. It's the portals, the access points are a bit different, depending on what landscape you're working in. So first it's just observation and softening, coming into that boundlessness as I did in that cave, that sunset. It's like letting nature communicate to you and it shows you the way. It's very organic. I will often hear a lot of my grid work I do while I'm on the beach, often at sunset. Sometimes at sunrise, but usually my sunrises are over here by the mountains. So sunsets, I usually make it to the beach. And I always collect coral, little bits of the kukui nuts, any little nature things just kind of around me, wherever I feel gravitate. It's always a different spot on the beaches, wherever I'm called to anchor and just sit and be. And I'll kind of create just a little drawing in the sand. It's usually very just whatever wants to come out, just sand drawing, very simple. Then I'll put these earth objects around. I usually just go into checking in with my breath, noticing the quality of my breath. And I start to smooth it out. And that's how I start to move into, I can literally feel my endocrine system start to release chemicals. And so I'm starting to accelerate into a higher mind state. And in that, then, I really work with the sun a lot. I stare into the sun when it's at a certain level and the light codes come in and I receive them. And it's very abstract, really, but I know my brain is receiving all the information it needs. And, a lot of times my eyes are open, sometimes my eyes are closed, and I see crystal cities being built. Or maybe they're already here. But this is Lemuria, as you said. And so if the original blueprint has not yet been realized, that is why we're here, for the original origin intent for the divine human template to design and architect these cities. And I know that's why I'm here, and for sure why you're here and why many of us are here. It's been a long project. I mean, we've been here for millions of years, working on this. So yes, so I see these crystal cities.
Oh, sounds so lovely.
Yeah.
So you talked about the big spiral in Lemuria energy in Maui, and a little more grounded here in the Midwest where you grew up, Indiana, and me too, Indiana, and that's where I am right now. Wish I were in Maui with you. So you've been to so many sacred sites around the world, and so you've felt the different energies and the thinning of the veil or portals being more open in various spots. Do you have one in particular or more than one in particular experiences that you have had in some of these sacred sites that you would like to share?
Wow,
You alluded to them a little bit at the beginning, but I know you had some amazing experiences in Israel a couple, 3 years ago.
yes. Yes, wow. Yeah, Israel was huge. Israel, I felt like was a bit of a continuation. I mean, it's all a continuum. Scotland was very powerful 2 years before Israel. Um, that's where I started to sing with the song lines of the planet. I discovered that the earth grid doesn't just run under through the tree roots and through the nervous system below, through like all of the crystals and geological formations and waters underneath. It's also there's song lines in the air. So I became connected not just with like the earth and the aquatic beings, but also the air beings. So the dragons came in, these baby dragons, and they came in when I started singing in the most high-pitched frequency voice that I can't even, I could only access there on this mountain in Scotland. And I was singing just, it was almost like hurting my own ears. It was so high. And then I just saw these baby dragons carrying the light. They were like, it was like a portal open and I could just see them flying. They were like released or something through this portal. It was incredible. So I know that there's a lot of connection with Scotland and with Israel. And so, yeah, in 2018, the biggest yes of my life was to go on that trip.
To Israel.
To Israel. Okay. I've never felt a yes like that in my life. And it was the best feeling to feel yes. I was just like, it was just medicine to say yes for the first time in my life. You know, because there's always like a hesitancy, you know. But it was a facilitated journey, right? So basically all I had to do is show up. You know, I just had to say yes. And the whole thing, you know, when you go on these facilitated journeys, I mean, you're just so taken care of so that you can do your light work. So you can do the deep transmutation, because it's an endurance training, spiritual endurance training to go on these journeys, right? I mean, you're getting up very early. They're long days. You're doing so much energy work. Your nervous system is like expanding, and there's a lot that's being processed. And it's so amazing. So yes, I mean, I don't know how much you want me to go into that. That was my like rebirth into like my complete knowing of my light body. I mean, complete knowing as much information as they would give me. You know, it's like there's gonna be more information when I'm ready for that new information. But I mean, I got a super high voltage of cosmic consciousness that flowed through my system for a continued amount of time, very, very strongly for probably about an hour or maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure, but it was,
Yeah, I mean, we talk metaphysical stuff on this show. I do a lot of my video blogs and talk about a lot of things. So the viewers are familiar with all of that. If you wanted to share, it's up to you. But I know you had some significant metaphysical experiences during that journey.
Yes. I mean, really, you know, whenever I land in a new place, it's just like, oh, I'm home. You know, I feel I'm home. I don't know, the earth just feels that way. The landscapes and the people, I just love connecting. It's very interesting. And Jordan was no exception to that. And we went to Petra in Jordan. And that's where I received a 0 point energy where I literally felt like the right and left hemispheres of my brain, I hit a neutral zone, like a really deep brain wave that I had never, it was like my monkey mind got tamed. It was so powerful. And this happened in a temple, but it was all ruins, right? It's all like open air and just kind of rebel. But it was the White Lion Temple where this seal came in, the 0 point. And so that put me into this like just deep internal reservoir. And the result was this exuberant joy. Just like, wow. I right after I received this 0 point, I rode a donkey up the mountain to these, I mean, Shakira was her name. I mean, it was just like joy. I was just like elated. I'm like riding this donkey through the desert. And I am just like, so, feel childlike joy. Like I felt so serious as a child too. Like just, there was stress, coming into this form and things weren't right yet, It's like, what are all these systems, But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a kid again. Like I was able to like ride this donkey and it's just so much fun. And the most beautiful people. And the gift of the healing that was facilitated for me was so huge. It was so huge. And there were many witnesses, and we witnessed each other receiving this gift of the protocol, the 0 point. So magnificent. And then as the day succeeded, we took our bus through the border from Jordan into Israel. And again, the people, just like it was like an open corridor for me. People were having very different experiences. Some people were like, oh, I had this, that security, that border control, this person, that person. And for me, it was just like a glide. I don't know, it was just like the doors were open. I didn't feel any of that resistance, right?
So you had a huge afterglow from that metaphysical. And sorry to interrupt for a second, but I wanted the viewers to understand too that we can have these metaphysical experiences. In fact, maybe they're even better. I wouldn't know because I've never used ayahuasca or any other psychedelics or any kind of substances. Yours was without any outside influence, right? No substance. Yeah.
No. Yeah. No, this was just working with vibration, energy, and frequency. And the sun,
I think we can get higher and have a longer afterglow, but I wouldn't know because I haven't compared it.
I can compare. I mean, I have tried. Yeah, I have taken psilocybin. I've taken LSD. I mean, this is kind of
in ceremony
way back.
Yeah. What's the difference?
20 years ago.
Yeah. Is there a difference?
Oh, there is, but, I can just say the psilocybin was much more of an earthy, very like clay. It felt like I wanted to mold clay. I just wanted my hands to be with the earth and like make a sculpture. It was strange, whereas the LSD was a bit more like high in the sky, kind of a little bit less associated with the earth.
Which experience did you have the most joy?
So depends on the environment that you're in, I would say. And I can't say I access joy on those experiences. I was like in like, whoa, and wow, and aha. Like this is vibration and energy and frequency. The world is not flat, that kind of thing. Like, again, it's not what we think it is, but it wasn't joy. It wasn't anything like the good feeling I would get when I learned yoga, then once I started to do yoga, it's like, oh, I actually did my hallucinatory journeys all before the age of probably 20 or 21.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Once I started to learn about yoga and meditation, I
Mhm.
didn't want any of that anymore.
Because do
Uh,
you feel that you can access the inner joy more easily and it
okay.
lasts longer and there's afterglow, a longer afterglow?
And a cumulative
A
effect.
cumulative effect.
Yes, it
Okay.
accumulates in this life-giving way and
Okay.
it grows, whereas the other is a depletion. It depletes,
Oh,
at least
for
I'm,
you.
at least for me and for um, the common recreational ways it was being utilized in that environment that was my experience. I know there's ceremonial ways to do it, and I can't speak for actually those experiences. I've never done ayahuasca. I've never done like ceremonial spaces with, it was always a vision quest. Um, the journeys are always vision quests. Um, Yet I didn't have a facilitator, for those vision quests. That was very, um, it was a huge ego eradicator,
Mm.
but also it was almost like my ego like expanded. Like it's very interesting how confronting that time was, but I really confronted a lot of ego and fear, in that time early on my path.
Mm.
And it was a very, very beneficial, I would say, time for me to not buy into the program.
Mm.
That was because the whole education system, I was really rebelling from it. It was like really didn't thrive in that way of learning. And this experimentation for me in that time gave me access to thinking about things in a non-conventional way, in a kind of system busting way. But I knew that it aligned me with kind of like the earth, and I was like, I want to, you know, do something with this life. I want to be of service. I want to like help the situation in some way. And actually, a big facilitator of the expansion of my awareness is my dad. He took me out west on his motorcycle, and that really opened up my worldview. It got me out of my small little container, and from the hometown, and opened up my worldview. It's like, oh, there's like a place outside of all of that, like the mountains, the fresh air, the rain that hit us. Like it all just felt like, oh, okay, I'm alive. This is an adventure. Like life is an adventure, and it just like got this momentum going. I didn't feel stuck anymore. And I think some of those like experimentations were kind of like ways to unstick myself,
Yeah.
but then I got out of town on a motorcycle, and I was like out of the state. I was in the western expanse, and it was so, wow, it was so special. So many incredible inspirations came through the mind, on that journey. It's like this like blossoming. And so, quickly I didn't want to utilize any of the external substances. It became very, very different path quickly after that. So it's very interesting. We kind of utilize what we have. We do what we do with what we know, and then when we know more, we do better. We just kind of keep improving on the life like that. But I know there's like many medical, ways to utilize these things, and much more. So maybe there is a cumulative effect possible using, external elixirs and substances that, it's all, there's so many different ways to experience that. But for me, with the work with on these sacred sites that I go to, it's all light work. It's all working with the sun and the elements, and nothing is ingested. And that's how all my work, that's how I hold space for all my work, is with the breath and with the sun and with the earth, the crystalline core of the earth, connecting with source light from within and from without, and uniting that pathway, and getting the whole bodily system to hum. It's incredible. So yes, on that Israel journey, it was a phenomenal moment of receiving light codes from the sun. And perhaps because of some of my previous, it's a whole accumulation of previous experiences. There's nothing that was a mistake. Like there's, it's all been so perfectly placed on the path. And, my brain, my body, my spine, my system was ready to receive the high voltage light that came through the solar fields on the 12th of November, 2018. And I received, it was in the shape of like honeycomb. It was a bunch of it was a hexagonal pattern, but it looked like honeycomb. It's a hexagonal formula. And these light codes are just streaming in through my eyes. I'm just looking at the sun through a filter, through this orange curtain. And before I knew it, I was in a complete another density or dimension of reality, where audio, visual, physical, everything needed extra cues for me to realize that it was time to get off the bus. Everybody was already, I had no idea where we were, or I knew I was home. I knew I was in Israel. I knew I was in my form still, and I knew that, that was my friend there, and that was my friend there, and that was that person up there. I knew I had company around me, but the brain was doing something very, very different. And so, yes, stepping off that bus, we were, unbeknownst to me, in the lands of Grandmother Anna's mastery complex. We were in her temple or church site. I didn't know this until later in the day. I had no idea where we were. But yes, and so as I stepped off of the bus, there were, the ground was moving like piano keys, like somebody was playing the piano. And there would be light. There was light coming through the mortar, the cracks of the stones, and as they were moving. And it was like the light would come through, and then I would step on that stone, and then the light would come through the next stones, and then I would step on those stones. So it was like I was picking up light codes or anchoring light codes. It felt like it was a continuation of my work from many timelines, many lifetimes. And it was very, very interesting to pick up these crystal seeds, or to anchor these crystal seeds. There's an exchange, we when we travel places, we're dropping light codes, we're giving our light codes to the space, the place, and we're also receiving. It's this like mutual reciprocation that happens. And so that was what was happening. It was just like a connection, an exchange, and that just kept happening. And then I kept getting these huge waves, feeling like I was going to just like get sick. and then the like visions started to come stronger. And yeah, so we eventually entered the temple walls, and I just noticed it as like a big arc. And I told my friend who was helping me walk, I mean, literally like guiding me. I remember her saying, remember this code 333331933. And it was like or no, 3319333. And it was a license plate number. She's like, this is very important, these numbers, 3319333. I was like, okay, you know, I did that, just like plunked into my head. And, you know, my eyes aren't really, I'm in a total trance. Like, but it's not a trance, you know, but an altered state. So my eyes are like completely somewhere else. And people are like coming to me. It's a very interesting thing, like wanting me to like touch them in the group. You know, they knew that the cosmic consciousness is flowing through this vehicle that was not me. I mean, you know, it's like not even that. It's just like, okay, like she's looking at the sun at the right time. We're going to go through her, you know? So it just like, boom, happened. It was beautiful, you know, it's kind of like odd, you know, in a way, but, you know, I just wanted to like hug everybody, just like, you know, like pet them, you know, just like, and anyway, so we went in through this arc, which was the entrance to the temple. I've later studied all this to like, you know, map out the coordinates and see where I was. And I told my friend that was supporting my walking, I've got to lean against a stone wall. I've got to cool down because I was so hot and I was starting to feel like I was going to have a heart attack or something, you know? It was, test your capacity, you know, when the light comes in. You know, if we were given like all the enlightenment energy all at once, we would zap, we would fry, you know, we could only get doses at a time. And this was a big dose. And so I was being tested, right? So I was like, okay, I just gotta lay against the stone wall. And then a couple of other women came up and started to do this like light language clearing work around my body. And one of the women was holding this beautiful child, her daughter. And it was just like these four women here. And all of a sudden, this huge surge of light just like enters my body. And I just start weeping, like uncontrollably, like tears of just heaven. It was not tears of sadness or sorrow or pain. It was just like the most beautiful tears. And I started to see the aurora fields in my tear. The daughter's name is Aurora. The little baby that was there is the Aurora. So these like plasma light, these water light fields were coming in, probably activated through her beautiful energy. The mother, beautiful Alea, was right there, just like assisting me to anchor the heart line. Beautiful Shirley, working with the womb space and just all the support around. And it was just like this moment of immaculate conception. I mean, it was this, and it's a concept, it's a light that enters the being, right? It enters us. That, I don't know, it's just an alignment thing that happens, and it's there for humanity. And somebody says, I remember Krystal, the one who was facilitating, he was the facilitator of this journey. There was also a shaman who was doing a lot of the protocols. Krystal was the facilitator of all the logistics and, you know, mastery of navigating this land for us, because it seemed, you know, pretty seamless on our end, but I know it's so much to get all those pieces together. And I remember, I think he said, or someone said, oh, it's 11:11. And look, they're in the birthplace of Mary. And it was like it says on the ark, birthplace of Mary. So it was like this really, you know, it's like completely just complete alignment. Everybody was operating in their perfect place. It was like we were this constellation, you know, and all these stars in this constellation that made this, that allowed for this event to happen. And that's what we are, is like, if we can just attune and align with nature and allow the soul codes to have space to just shine their light, we will orchestrate like this most magnificent symphony, harmony, constellation of humanity. And like what we say, miracles, it's not even like miracle, you know, it's so natural, it's supernatural, but it's supernatural. It's the most natural thing for us. We've been out of nature. And that's a thing, we've been out of alignment with nature. And really these events, and it's an orchestration of many parts. It's never just one person. It's not just one, it's many. And that's how it works. And that was really the message that came through, was like, we're all doing this. Like, this is the most incredible orchestration of an event, you know, and the event was all of ours. You know, everyone just had such an incredible experience with that moment. And it just kept going on and on. It was like a crazy day. But that was like really just like, whew, you know, the biggest peak. And then there were many more peaks. But so from there, you know, life is just really, you know, I know more clearly, you know, yes, okay, I'm a light worker and I have been for so long, lifetimes, you know, it's in my code. I'm coded to do that. That's truly, you know, my dream, you know, is to be with humanity and to walk this planet and many planets and many cosmos, you know, and just map the return path home, you know, and we're home. It's already here. So it's kind of convoluted the way I just said all that, but it's magnificent. The journey's just magnificent. And
I love that. You know, everything you said was so beautiful, and that we're the micro of the macro cosmos, and that the light is accessible to us through our soul codes, you mentioned. When we have these experiences, and I've had them too, and I'm so glad that we can share that together as aunt and niece, we do feel so joyful and so, oh yes, this is what it's about. I mean, and we want that more and more and more. The good news is the afterglow stays with us. And so we dip into the lower frequencies less and less, and we align ourselves. At least I think we both do anyway. I don't want to speak for you. However, we align ourselves less and less and with the lower frequencies, and more we tune into the higher. And that kind of segues into one of the main last questions that I wanted to ask you, because 2020 has been quite a challenge for many people if we're not understanding and remembering how to do what both of us are doing, and that is tapping into and tuning into and ridding our monkey mind of these distractions, but tuning into the higher frequencies so that we can spread the light outwardly, bring it in, and then every step we take in this realm lightens up as we take that step, all people, places, and things. So, you know, people are like, I'm done with 2020, yet I don't really know if 2021 is going to be any better. What are your thoughts in light of the fact that we can lighten up in any moment?
yes. Well, these years, you know, we're just in a new era. You know, time is 2020, 2021, we're in a new era of incredible opportunity. And it's an opportunity for soul freedom in a way that we haven't felt for a long, long time. And so this turbulence that we all experience, or have experienced, I mean, we're all human, and it's this 3D has been locked in with so many synthetic programs, false programs. They're synthetic, they're metallic, they're not aligned. And so everyone who is going through the turbulence and the changes, you are doing great service to releasing and transmuting the old false programming that's been riddled with pain, suffering, sorrow, mistreatments of life in so many different forms. And so I wanted to just say as well, just to pull back from that segue moment. Oh, did I lose my train of thought? It was something you said with the micro and macro.
Oh,
and
the universe. Yeah.
The expansions and contractions, and how we do go through these big expansions. And then there is a natural contraction to ready you for the next expansion. So it's not always going to feel painless in the form.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't even strive for that, because we're going to think something's wrong with us when we're going through. But, to have these three-dimensional bodies, to go through accelerations of light, and then to integrate that, what we're doing is we are working our gene codes. We're working our double helix. And we are designed to be 12 strand, maybe 24 strand. I don't know, some say a lot of strands of DNA, but I'll just stay with like 12 right now. And that's probably going to be a huge jump for some of the scientists. But we are in an evolutionary moment, and we always have been, but particularly quantum leaping evolutionary moment in time. So we are doing so much release work with the epigenetic, just like the programming that has been so embedded in our double helix, the carbon-based DNA, and to really go in and clean and transmute this. There's going to be discomfort in that, and we should not be scared of that. We don't need to be, just like fearful of anything, or like resist. It's like the more we clear out our resistances, the more free and pain-free it does actually become. But there is like discomfort in the process, and that's natural. So these huge expansions, you might feel like for a day or two after a huge expansion, your nervous system might cramp. You might feel crampy. If your crown chakra is trying to open and you're going through an expansion here, you might have a headache, and that's okay. Let the head ache. Open it. It's trying to assist you to go into meditation and access the deeper brainwave states. Beta wave needs to turn off when you're on that headache zone. You need to go into alpha, theta, gamma, and you will release your headache when you go into those deeper brainwave states. So allow the pain to be an orientation towards your enlightenment. Utilize it, go through it. Do not resist it, don't mask it, just allow that to be a portal. The pain is a portal to awakening, actually. And it's amazing how it goes away. The pain will go away if you go through it. So I just wanted to say that it's, people feel discomfort. That's, part of it. Part of it. So But
We can't escape the human condition while we're here.
right. And, we can transmute until, those conditions are, at least high portions and percentages that we are more free than the conditions.
Yeah.
Yet, it's a percentage game. So we just keep, step by step, bit by bit, step by, day by day. And within one day, sometimes it feels like there's 5 days within one day. There's just so many cycles and waves, happening and coming through all of us right now. So for 2021 and this turbulence and this one of our wonderful healer friends, Dr. Dan, talks about it as a purge of the downfall world. And that's exactly what's happening. It's being purged, it's being purged through the narrative, through the human story. And, we stay present with what is, and we can accelerate this process and move through things much quicker when we apply, spiritual tools and techniques to, directly contact it and move it through and forward. And then you become a channel for the new information to drop in. It's very powerful. So 2021, just this period of time, I feel like is a time for more of these conversations, to ask questions that make each other excited about the story. We're moving into the Aquarian age, we're already here, and it's about humanity and about connection in a communicative way. It's about communication, global communication, and communication with our cosmic family. It's interstellar communication. So, it's not just verbal, it's receptive, and it's receiving. It's supposed to both transmitting and receiving communications on multi-dimensional levels. So when we access each other, and I think this is going to be a big part of the 2021 and the acceleration through the 2020s, this whole decade. I think we can look at it as a whole decade, expand our view, and 2020 vision, the 2020s, we are going to see so clearly who we truly are and what our true dream is, and how we're so uniquely soul coded to be that in this realm, in this body, in this experience, in this lifetime. We're not going to die and do it in another, we can do it here now. And that is why we're alive, is to be here and communicate and share and collaborate, co-create.
Yeah, and we can do it here and now with a little help from our friends like Kristen. This is a good time to share with us. Kristen, you have the Temple of Light and Chakra course, and you also have the 21-day accelerator series coming up starting this Friday. So share with us both of what you're doing for both of those courses when you offer the Temple of Light course, and then then also tell us a little bit about your 21-day accelerator series, as well as your ability to help people one-on-one.
Sure. Yeah, the Temple of Light course is a 3-weekend course that starts the first Friday of December. And I offer this 4 times a year, kind of in the cardinal points of the year. So it's the 3 weekends leading up to the solstice or the equinox. So this December, we'll start the first Friday. It'll be the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere and the summer solstice in the southern hemisphere. And so in this 3 weekend, it's 8 sessions, and we focus on the chakra system. And so each session is 2 hours long, and we go through the physical and metaphysical attributes of each chakra, and I take you through guided pranayama, visualization, meditation techniques that open and activate these energy centers and hopefully release, physically, emotionally, mentally, um, astrally, the energy of that center. So yes, it's an incredible journey, and I've been teaching that since 2013, and it's just evolved as my awareness and my understanding and learnings and embodiment experience has evolved and grown. So each class is so unique. So yes, that.
It's amazing course, and I highly recommend it. As I said earlier in the show, um, you learn so much. Kristen has so much knowledge that you've brought from a lot of the sacred sites and your own experiences. So this is a great course. I highly recommend it. And we'll have information on it below this video.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, it's very creative, and it helps you access your inner creativity and color and light, and yeah, really, we build the temple of light, or help you remember those coordinates in your own temple. And yes, and then on Friday, in 2 days, we start the 21-day accelerator course. And this is an offering to help you build momentum, to get the wheel spinning and lubricated. As I talked about earlier, when I felt stuck in a certain place, in a certain thought, in a certain paradigm, and then I went on that motorcycle trip with my dad. It was like a huge momentum creator, and that's what this course is. I mean, you do it in the comfort of your own home or your own car, wherever you are, when you can catch the, the recording or the live. And it's to build momentum. It's to kind of lubricate the machine with your breath. Every day is going to have a theme. One day it'll be the blood, one day it'll be the bones, one day it'll be the brain, a spinal column. We'll kind of go through, the different bodily parts and bring energy and light and alignment to your channel, to your source, our source, but through your own spine. And so yeah, it'll be energizing for sure, and hopefully create, the intention for me is to assist you to create a positive habit in your routine, to put that meditation practice, to hold space for that, to create a new positive habit for you as we enter, the next season.
Yeah, we can really use that right now. I'm so happy you're offering that. And you also you post to your YouTube channel and Facebook page some weekly readings, tarot readings, and you can do that individually and also coaching.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I do offer on my YouTube channel and on Facebook, Facebook weekly readings, YouTube, there's a lot more readings that I do there.
Yeah.
And I use the tarot cards. I call them more oracle cards because I read totally intuitively. It's like the pictures and the combinations just give me a feeling, give me an energy. And then I just share that story as I see it, not so much what traditionally how they're read. So it's very much just like an intuitive channeling flow, my consciousness, and it seems to really, always just paint a picture. It paint a picture with words. It's really amazing. I love cards, and highly recommend people get their own cards too. I know Aunt Lisa has her deck. I don't know if you sell your deck, but if you do, these wonderful affirmation cards that she pulls on her station. But cards is such a fun way to be with yourself in a sacred space. It's creative and it's cards, so it's tangible, and it's fun to shuffle and see what pops out and see how you feel in response to that. It's a wonderful process. It's really fun.
I love it. Yeah, the cards do facilitate kind of our ability to download our inner knowing. I
Yeah.
like that. And I like that you're calling them oracle cards and not going by the standard um, interpretation. I just recently read that that really is the way to do it. So you're right on
Mhm.
there. So,
Right.
and then you have your one-on-one. Anybody can get in touch with you and set up a scheduled meeting with you to get either an oracle reading or coaching, or explain maybe a little bit about that.
Exactly.
Do they just email you at,
Yeah, they can just email me, or they on my website. Um, I've got various services there that you can kind of learn about the different things that I do on www.sacredsoul.ascension.com. And, I do these group Temple of Light courses, but if you personally wanted to go through your narrative and have a very personalized chakra journey, it's a very deep and in-depth, series. It's actually an 11 session series. So there's a lot of like prep work and intention setting and, integration points. Yes, so it's a very supported, and if you're ready to take a leap, an evolutionary leap, if you're ready for your yes, that course is really gonna support you and in your alignment positioning in that total integration of your divine self. And so, yeah, if you're ready for that yes and ready for the acceleration on that level, that's a profound way. Yes, but I also have, many, energy booster sessions, which are, smaller sessions, and working one-on-one and just contacting what is and helping to address those points, those tension points, and open them up and breathe light and life into them and catalyze you as your own self healer, self generator, just to help you remember that you are a light body, a light generator. And these are immortality codes. When I was in Israel, those light codes I was picking up, they're immortality codes. And not saying that we're in these bodies immortally forever.
well, we
Yet
could be,
what we are,
couldn't we?
well,
That right, little girl.
The human lifespan, yes, it can be much longer than what we are programmed, conditioned, all these things to. So many things are just so, that double helix carbon based, these are the things, the programs run so deep, right? And we're working on that. We're recoding and we're building new synapses and like codexes for the new infrastructure, the new strands to physicalize, to physically start to anchor. Okay, so yes, but kind of lost my train of thought.
Well, I was going to say now is the time to connect with Kristen, and invest in not only our physical health, also our mental health. If we get rid of that monkey mind thing, the monk mind, whatever, and remember how to clear out those negative thought patterns, then that will automatically lift our spirits and help our physicality. I mean, I know that you've worked with people where their heart rate has improved and things like that. So if they actually had something to monitor that, they could probably get concrete evidence that this stuff really works that you're doing.
Yes, and I know you're doing too. It was really a phenomenal thing working with somebody recently who had a heart monitor attached and dropped 60 points in the beats per minute. It's just like, whoa, just so wonderful to see evidence, right? I mean, we know the feelings, we know what happens.
Yeah.
And the elevation of good feelings, but those good feelings actually have quantifiable measurements. So anyway, yes, medically, mentally, emotionally, physically, all of these things very much, all of this work, you know, all of these sessions that you do too, Lisa, we both do this work. We're in the same vibration, you know. It helps you. I mean, I have never, I don't regret a penny that I've ever spent, you know, on my self-development and this accumulative effect of, yeah, the spiritual journey. It's just, it's invaluable, you know. If anything, I've always felt like, wow, like I should give you $1 million for what just happened, not 300. You know what I mean? It's like if I had $1 million, I would give it, because that's how much, like, when we access that immortal part of us, where we're like, oh, like I'm at one with like the deepest core essence of myself that's united and completely aligned with source of creation. There's no wavering. I mean, it's like, it's so locked in, and that's the golden thread. Like that's the golden cord that you're like, you've got. And that, you know, you transition through this body, you know, that goes on and on and on, and reclaiming that and remembering that lifeline, soul line, spirit line. It's like it all starts to drop in perfect like harmony and timing. And yeah.
I was going to just say something before we close here too. In, you know, you got me thinking a little bit. Think. So, you know, we came in to this realm to experience all these diverse emotions, you know, what we call the human condition, and the stories. What would a story be if it didn't have an emotion? And now we're remembering through your teachings, my teachings, and then all the teachings we've received, we're remembering how we can choose, again, going back to that, choosing the frequency that we prefer. So we can, like, just to borrow a Bible story, we can go into, I can't really say I've read the Bible, but I remember this Bible story in school. We can go into the den of thieves like Jesus and not level down to that, and nobody steals anything from us. In fact, the thieves level up to the light that we've brought through, and, you know, vis-a-vis our soul codes, as you say. So this is the key for me anyway, and I know for your teachings, is we're that powerful, and that we can suffer a nanosecond and then choose, okay, I don't really like that, I'll just suffer for a nanosecond, or I can suffer for a week. Yet I'm done with that experience. I don't need to redo it, and I'll choose the fun stuff now as much as possible. And that's what I have journeyed with the last 12 years. It's been so much more fun than the previous 50 years. So, yeah.
You really hit something so beautiful. And like we have much more control over things than what we realize. Like a small little recent example that happens frequently, but my neighbor has these children, and, you know, whatever, there's a lot of kids in my neighborhood, but I hear this family a little bit more, and they're young. One's just a newborn baby. And when that baby cries, I'm up here just singing to the baby. I sing, and like I feel like it calms the energy down, you know. And then when I see him out there, like you know, I play with them or whatever. But we can change the frequency so quickly if we just choose that in the moment. It's like, oh, I could be like, wow, that kid's really loud. It's like, ah. And it's like, oh no, I'm gonna sing to him, you know, even though if he can hear me or not, the vibration carries through. As I sing, and like, not only does the baby stop crying, but also like my energy expands and flowers. And then the space gets filled with that vibration and energy and frequency. when I stepped outside on a walk yesterday downtown, so many people are stressed, you know, even on this island.
Mm.
And I was smiling, like, hello, aloha, just bringing the vibration there. Not everybody responds, but some are like, oh, how is it, or whatever. And, but it's just like, just really, and it's very important, I think, too, to really not go into the world as a human. These spiritual practices are very, very important to lubricate our system, to bring us into deeper brainwave states. There are practices, they're very simple, yet to do a practice daily lubricates your system in a way where it gives you this elevation, a divine human energy, where you're then able to hold that frequency. And you can then, be the Christ light in the world of humanity. And you can see openings, you see possibilities for the problems that we face. It gives you that higher mind function, not meaning higher than better than anybody else, but just that frequency that so much is the truth, is the way. And by elevating, you help other people remember that.
Oh, I love that. And important to do our daily practices so that we keep our system lubricated. Love that.
It's vital.
Mm-hmm.
It's vital.
Yeah. Keeps us in that modality where we can shine our light every step we take, and just automatically just people look at us and smile and they're happy, if we're at the store or whatever. And I just walk around not realizing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can compare it to the way I used to be. That's the beautiful thing about my journey, the age I am. So I love that, Kristen. I love that you're tapping into that, and that when you were in Israel during that one metaphysical experience, I know you've had many more, you were wanting to hug everyone, and separation wasn't even aware of it. I'm sure you just wanted to go and co-create. And
So
that,
in love, and I knew everyone
yeah.
was an integral piece to that.
Yeah. And so this era, or this situation we're in right now, where we have to segregate in a sense, goes against I think our true nature, where you said supernatural. Our true super nature essence is to connect, co-create, collaborate,
Yes.
and not be in fear of each other. So is there anything else you would like to share before we close, Kristen? Kristen?
Well, I think that what you just said, our conversations, I think the last phone conversation we had lasted 4 hours. So I know if we're not careful, we'll just keep going.
Good thing we have cell phones now. We're not limited by a cord like I used to grow up with. We were really stuck.
Oh my, right? Yeah. But yeah, we have earbuds now. We can walk around.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, just what you touched on, though. Just the nature of the universe is to unify, unity. And that is the natural course of this place, is to unify. And we must be very aware internally of it predates colonialism, but we call it the colonial tactic of divide and conquer. It's way before colonial. This is a polarity program from the Orion Wars, 70,000+ years ago, if you want to get, way out there. So we must be very aware, like humanity, this is a project we're working on together. And when individually succeed in finding that unity, within, and we really unify and connect with the origin source, and we return to the zero, the origin source point of creation. This is like a successful mission. You are a success when, and God too is a success. It's like, yes, like she's getting it, he's getting it, like, this experience of individuation, but like the all inside of the individuation is, we're doing it, we're remembering that we, we are God, in a sense. So expressed as like a source fractal, we're a fractal of this huge, immense thing. So anyway, I could just go on, but yes, what you said, just staying together and being aware of the programming deep inside of our genes. It's deeply programmed in there to really work at it. I'm still working with these deep things too. Wow. It just goes on and on when you're looking at genetic programs. So. What is Dr. Dan, we like do one clearing and he's like, oh yeah, and there's like 1 million something threads attached to that one. It's like, yeah, it feels like this, the amount of clearing, goes into the mega millions, gazillions.
Yeah.
So don't ever feel defeated, you're building strength and, we're doing this together for sure. So just keep up with it and ask for assistance, ask for catalysts like Lisa, like me, whoever, is in your field of, spirit family that's maybe a step or two ahead of you, it's just how it works, I call on people who are 10 steps ahead of me to help me, it's just how we do this. It's a community, it's a constellation, we're a constellation.
Yes, a constellation where we support each other. And so if one of the viewers, all the viewers want to reach you to get support, what's your email address, Kristen? And then you want to repeat your website, and I'll also put your YouTube channel down and below and all that.
Thank you so much. It's email is k@sacredsoulascension.com. And the web address is sacredsoulascension.com. It's kind of a mouthful, but.
Oh, I love Sacred Soul Ascension.
it's like a flower.
So I hope you've enjoyed this, viewers. I certainly have. This has been such an honor to interview my niece, and I learned some things today that I didn't know about her. So it's always, even though we've had 4-hour conversations, it's always a delight. And so with that, Kristen, I hope you'll come on again after you've had even more experiences and can share your wisdom and knowledge with us. We'll have you back on soon. And with that, viewers, please stay in touch and imagine, visualize, and create dreams for yourself and dreams for society. Aloha and peace be with you.
Thank you so much.